Hey guys, it's Bex here, and I'm here with my friend Mike Perrine of EverydayDetox.org, and we are talking about why fruit is actually not that good for you. Kind of. But we are absolutely giving you the secret formula for good health, vitality, long life, happiness. So stay tuned and watch, and as questions and comments come up, please leave them in the comment section below. We love hearing from you.
This is my number one frustration. If one more person asks me about a specific food to cure Alzheimer's, to fix their diabetes, to help them to get a flat belly, to prevent cancer, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. I really am, because I recall my father, right? I blamed my mother for it earlier when we were talking about this, but it was really my dad who was so fearful of death. On his deathbed, he was just like, first of all, he was making all the nurses pray for him, which was like, Dad, if Jesus doesn't love you by now.
Like, he was afraid.
He was so afraid of dying, but he was always afraid of dying, and he was always afraid of getting sick, but never in a way that would make him, compel him to do it, the right way to actually take care of his body. He was always looking for the trick. So he would be in line. It was mostly Reader's Digest fault. It was always the Reader's Digest. And he would say, like, blueberries, the next superfood, antioxidants are going to, prevent you from getting cancer, like prevent cancer. And he would believe this, and he would say, I got to eat blueberries every single day because then I'm not going to get cancer. And it's not the point. It's not one thing. And this makes me nuts, because it's not even about looking for a magic pill or a quick fix. It's that people they are completely blind to the big picture about what true health is. And it's not, my head is exploding already.
It's not the lycopene in the tomato.
It's not the freaking lycopene. I used to own a pizzeria.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in Staten
I forgot
Island.
about that. Yeah.
And that was something that we put on the menu, how the lycopene in tomatoes is like good for you for whatever.
Yeah.
And and people were really excited about that. And I'm like, it really, it really doesn't work that way. If you're eating the pizza, that's not how it works. But in desperation, people are glomming on to these ideas that something is going to save them, and completely abdicating responsibility for saving themselves or doing any research or figuring out how, or live healthier, or understanding that, like, you have to exercise every day. Like, they want to give away the responsibility, and then they get mad when it doesn't work out for them. So I wrote down in a note for this video, I don't want to be negative. I'm just so mad about this. I don't want to be negative. The title, and you made a face, fruit isn't that good for you.
Okay.
And this is spawned by a lot of different things, and we're not even going to bring up any names. We're not going to do anything. But, it's like everybody wants this solution, and what it's given rise to, and there's always been trends, is, okay, if you eat a lot of fruits, you're going to be really healthy and you're going to live forever. Or if you eat a lot of bacon, you're going to be really healthy and live forever. And I want people to understand that none of these solutions, none of these methods is the solution.
It does, like, when we examine fruits and vegetables under a microscope, they all have a variety of things they're going to deliver to us, whether it just be some of these basic macronutrients or all these little subtle phytonutrients and trace minerals, and they have this effect, and this study shows that this lowered cancer rates by this, or this has some special antioxidant. It's like a mess all over there. So it doesn't even serve anybody to talk. Like, for me, I feel like, okay, if I really got into all the studies and memorized all that stuff and told all my clients, don't you know broccoli's good for the prostate? Don't you know? I could do that all day, but the end result is always the same thing. Eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, because they have a whole variety of different effects on our systems. But that's the first part. What a food delivers. We want the food to deliver high quality nutrition. That's easy. If that were it, then steak would be good for everybody, because it has protein and iron and zinc, and grass-fed beef has omega-3 fatty acids and things. So, that would be it. But we know that there's more to that. Second part is what a food removes. So this is food as a cleanser. Okay, this is why an apple a day keeps the doctor away, because it makes you go to the bathroom. Okay, that's really important. It absorbs metabolic waste. It absorbs things that shouldn't be in our bodies, and it carries it right out of our system. And the third part is the other side of that, and that's what a food doesn't leave behind. So the difference between an apple and a cheeseburger is they both contain things, some good, some bad. There's really nothing in an apple that you're gonna have to recover from. You have to recover a lot from a cheeseburger, but let's say it was the highest quality cheeseburger on the planet. It's going to have some iron and zinc and like all the things that animal food has, but it removes nothing from the body, and it leaves a trail of sludge behind. That's where the problem comes in.
Nobody talks about that. See, they're only talking about what the food is giving them. They're not talking about what the food is taking away, like what amount of energy it takes to even digest this food or recover from the food. So it's what am I getting? What am I getting? What am I getting? And I think that this is where the failing of people. I don't want to bring up paleo specifically because I think that I'm going to have somebody else talk about paleo another day. But the pro bacon set, but it's good for me because it has this, and this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still bacon. And it's still, it's doing all kinds of things that you don't want it to do, but nobody wants to acknowledge that because of what good it's doing. And they're just missing the point.
Yeah, because it's something that has to be tremendously balanced. You don't want to have to recover from a food. You want it to like fortify and elevate you want to be better off from eating it than having not eaten it.
Full disclosure, I eat bacon. I don't know what camera I'm looking into, but like I partake in the bacon very rarely, very seldomly. And I know exactly what I'm eating when I'm eating it. It's like, it's not health food.
And here's the thing. Raw food vegan diet leaves out everything that you have to balance out or recover from pretty much, right? So, and then as we get into cooked food, it gets a little more complicated. And then as you get into animal food, it gets a little more complicated. So the trick is to try to create a certain percentage of your diet that's best to your lifestyle that you possibly can to be as raw and organic and vegan as possible.
Right.
So V equals P minus O quickly.
Right.
Just as a little refresher. Vitality, which is everything that we want, which is feeling good, disease-free, high level of oxygen in our bodies, strong, quick, mind thinking clearly, skin looking good, everything working properly. V equals P minus O. Vitality equals power or pressure. That's the movement of everything through the body. The gases, the stuff moving in and out of the cells, the oxygen moving into the cells, the nutrients moving freely, the toxins moving out, minus obstruction. And those are things that clog up our systems. It could be arteries loaded with cholesterol. It could be a colon full of food. It could be heavy metals sticking into your cells and creating all sorts of problems and things like that. Smoker's lung, you look at a smoker's lung, lots of obstruction there.
But if you can keep that equation in mind constantly, the V equals P minus O, so you want things to be moving without obstruction, you can do that on any kind of diet. Like you can subscribe to any diet really and find a way to use that within the parameters of that diet. So a paleo person who eats animal products, it's just about having a lot more plants and a lot less animal products. So we're not saying like the only way to make this work for you is to be a vegan, even though that's ideal. It's that like you can use this equation. Why then are people why do we crave these kinds of messages that are overcomplicated if it's really that simple?
I think it's because we need to feel like we're doing something. We need to suddenly feel like we're engaging in something. Because like there's never any questions at 2 a.m. when you're drunk and eating cheese fries in the diner and that whole lifestyle's going on. And it's just like, I do what I like because it feels good. And then the moment it's time to get healthy, it's like, I read that kale has these, goiterogenic properties that could like wreck my thyroid. So maybe I shouldn't eat too much kale. Suddenly the complicated nonsense starts to come. The brain kicks in.
It's just so sinister though, because people from the perspective of a professional who's trying to get this message out to people like the good word, to say that it's not that complicated, it's just a simple equation. I'm frustrated with other professionals making it so complicated and saying that you have to like count all of these things like macros and calories and whatever to achieve the goals that you want, because it simply is not true. And when they highlight, like we were talking about a video on the 25 best foods for a flat belly, and it was like all bullshit.
They were all head scratchers to me. I didn't understand, having been a colonic therapist too, and understanding how certain foods cause gas, how certain foods expand and absorb water out of your body, and I didn't understand. I didn't get it.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it either, and I'm not like a colonic person. I'm not giving people colonics or observing. It just didn't make any sense to me. It's all nonsense. But it's this overcomplicated message that's the obstruction. Vitality, it's the same thing with the message. V equals P minus O. Let the good stuff flow freely through you, the stuff that feels good and makes sense to you, that intuitively sounds right. Like eating lots of fresh fruits and veggies, and like if you eat meat, like having it just a little bit in the smallest portion on your plate and all that, or the smallest meal in your week. And then get rid of all the noise, get rid of the obstruction that's getting in the way of you receiving good information. So get rid of all these stupid blogs about the 25 best flat belly foods. We are guilty of titling the videos like that because we're trying to get to those people.
I say this
give them real
cautiously,
information.
but clickbait titles are just like, I find them so annoying. But I feel like I have to do them to some degree too, because boring titled things nobody wants to watch.
Right.
I click on that stuff all the time, like, because I want to.
It's true though. I'm just overly frustrated with the questions that are so specific, and they don't. Your problem is not unique. You're not the first person that had it, and there isn't some magical solution. It's really just about moving every day in a way that feels good, that makes you feel happy, have good relationships, be a good person, smile a lot, maybe throw in some meditation, and eat real food.
Mm-hmm.
Close to the ground in its natural state. I keep looking at the camera like we're doing a video podcast.
You could look at the camera.
All right. So, I mean, V equals P minus O. V equals P minus O.
That's the magic right there. And if you're going to put foods in that cause obstructions, got to balance them out. The easiest way to do that is vegan food and raw vegan food. You just eliminate all that stuff, and the vitality that comes is outrageous.
Yeah.
It is so amazing. That's why I built my whole life on that type of thing. Now, here's something before we move on to the next question, that people do get a little confused, because there is a detoxification and a rebuilding process that occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going into really deep things. So I see a lot of videos, why a vegan diet didn't work for me, why a raw food diet didn't work for me, why there's, and almost all of the time, and I don't know these people, but when I, if I watch the video and I get a sense of what's going on, how long they did it, what types of foods they were eating, almost all the time they didn't understand the detoxification process or modalities that will help facilitate that process. Things like saunas, things like colonics, of course, and other practices. Detoxification doesn't always mean feeling good. Sometimes it means feeling really bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means losing muscle with that fat, Sometimes it means a complete body transformation. Sometimes it means pimples and things coming out. So a lot of people don't quite get that. Sometimes it means a drop in energy where they go, oh, I used to be so much stronger. What happens when someone that's addicted to a drug puts that drug back into their body is they feel better again. When someone's addicted to heroin and they go through withdrawals and they feel disgusting and sick and they got the body aches and all that, and then they put a little heroin back in or methadone, they feel better. It doesn't mean that their vitality's increased. It doesn't mean that was like a nutrient for them that made them feel good. When people stop eating all the heavy animal food and processed food, and then they start to feel sick and they put it back in, and the detoxification process stops because the body doesn't accommodate and release poisons at the same time. They suddenly feel better and they think that it made them better, and they go, I must have been protein deficient. I shouldn't have done that raw vegan thing. People get very confused by that.
Well, the message is that everything that is good doesn't always feel good. And that's with a lot of things in life. For instance, childbirth. So it's a good thing that is uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be avoided. I know. I mean, I don't want to get off track, but there's a lot of big systems in place to allow women to avoid the discomfort of pregnancy and childbirth. And it's gotten in the way of our humanity. So people need to sometimes understand that good things come out of a little bit of patience and a little bit of discomfort, and be okay with that too.
Obviously, we're not done here, so to see the entire series, you can go ahead and click on that video thumbnail, and you'll also get a playlist of about 50 nutrition videos with all kinds of experts. You're going to love it. Remember, leave your comments and questions in the comment section below, and to see the entire podcast with bonus material, you can click on the first link in the video description and watch it at Everyday Detox on YouTube.